Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, welcome to the online lecture series for the subject of Science 2 of Standard 9th. So, in the last lecture, dear students, we had discussion on waste management, types of solid waste management, and the principles and the mantras required for managing those solid waste. So, today's lecture will be based on disaster management, how to manage disaster. So, as we know, various natural disasters like thunderbolts, that is lightning, floods, fire, and man-made disasters like accident, bomb explosion, chemical accidents in industries, stampedes in mass gathering, riots, etc., occur around us from time to time, and they cause large scale damage to life and property. So these are the situations which are not under control of all of us, and at such situations what one should do in order to minimize the losses, in order to minimize the this happening or the mishap which take place at such point of time, what one should do. So this is what we are going to discuss now. So here we can understand what are the first aid to be given to the disaster victims. The main objective of first aid is prevention of death, preventing deterioration of health, and starting the process of rehabilitation. Hence, it is important to know the emergency measures of first aid practices to be followed. So, before taking that victim to the hospital, what we can do, what first help, what is the meaning of first aid is the first help. What first help we can give if you or me, I am at the point of accident, and you see those victim lying on the road or the lying anywhere. So what help we can give to that person, that all of us should know. So here the such basic principles are mentioned. It's called life and resuscitation. It's ABC. First is airway. If the victim has difficulty breathing, the head should be held in backward sloping position, or the chin should be raised. That victim's chin should be raised so that the respiratory passage of air remains open. What another step we can take? If breathing has stopped, the victim should be given artificial ventilation by mouth to mouth resuscitation. If you find the person is not breathing properly or facing difficulty in breathing, so what one can do? One can pass on the air from one's mouth to the victim's mouth. Third one is circulation. If the victim is unconscious, then after giving mouth to mouth respiration twice, the heart should be pressed down hard by pressing the chest with both the palms. The two actions should be repeated alternately about 15 times. Okay, if you find that person is not able to move, it's unconscious, not moving here and there, lying just on a road or on any place, then you should first give breathing by mouth to mouth resuscitation, and then you should press the chest portion by keeping your both the palms one above the other, and you have to do this action every time about 15 times alternately, mouth to mouth respiration, and then you press the chest of that person with your both palms. Okay, you have to repeat this action alternately about 15 times. This is called pulmonary resuscitation, and it helps to bring the circulation back to normal. Okay, this much we can do. What else? Disaster management is action implemented through proper planning, organized activity, and coordination. So this is how disaster management is implemented. Now it includes the following. What are the points taken into consideration while making the disaster management applicable or practical? The first point is prevention of losses and danger. This is a very important point in managing the disaster. Improving tolerance. Okay, we should have that ability to, we should tolerate the situation. Then the third point, providing relief from disaster, minimizing the intensity and extent of harm, preparation to face the disaster. You should be well prepared to face the disaster, and then there should be immediate action in the disaster situation. Okay, so these are the responsibility taken by the governing bodies wherever we live. Okay, in whichever place, the governing body, they should take immediate action to minimize the loss caused due to disaster, and they should take immediate action. Assessment of damages, the damages which had happened due to disaster and the intensity of disaster, this should be taken into consideration. And then arranging for rescue work and help, if we can do on our scale, but basically this is to be done by the governing body. Rehabilitation and rebuilding. Okay, so these are all the points taken into consideration while managing the disaster. So this is the pictorial image for artificial breathing. Moving ahead, so if there is bleeding, if the victim is injured and bleeding through the wound, then the wound should be covered with an antiseptic pad and pressure applied on it for 5 minutes with either thumb or palm. So if you see that someone is bleeding, blood is coming out from the body or any particular part of the body, so that part should be covered with an antiseptic pad. If you don't get antiseptic pad, you can cover it with a piece of cloth and pressure applied on it for 5 minutes. It should be pressed, so that it should be pressed with thumb or palm. But if the person got fracture of any one of its body part, or there is an impact on vertebrae, that is the backbone, which we call as commonly, if any bone is fractured, it is essential that the fractured part be immobilized. That part should not be moved. Immobilized means that part should not be moved. That fractured part should be kept as it is. Okay, it can be done with the help of any available wooden rods, batons or rulers. Okay, that can be done if you attach that part of the body with any wooden piece or rod or ruler. So if there is an impact on the back of vertebral column, the patient should be kept immobile on a firm stretcher. So if you see any person face any injury on the back side or the backbone on the vertebral column, then that patient should be kept on a firm stretcher. Okay, it should not allow, that person should not be allowed to move at all. Or if there is any burns, so if victims have burn injuries, it is beneficial to hold the injured part under clean and cold flowing water for at least 10 minutes. So if you see any person have injured due to burn injuries on any part of the body, so that person's part should be whole and should be kept under clean and cold flowing water for 10 minutes. Okay, this much we can do before taking that person to hospital. And then if there is any injuries like sprain, twisting, contusion, then there is a method called rice remedy that should be applied. What is that? Rest. Allow the victim to sit in a relaxed position. Apply an ice pack to the injured part. Compression, that is after the ice pack treatment, the injured part should be massaged gently. Elevate, the injured part should be kept in a raised elevate position. So this rice method can be applied for those people who feel sprains. They sometimes while walking or while playing, particularly the sportsmen, while they play, they feel very strong pain over the leg region, particularly calf or the thigh region, or the legs get twisted. So at that particular point, this method of rice can be applied. And now if you or me is supposed to be the person who find victim lying anywhere, so how we can transport them, how we can move them from one place to another. So these are some methods. One is called cradle method, in which this is useful for children and underweight victims. This is what how we can do cradle method. Okay, this is that method, cradle method. Then carrying piggyback method. Okay, useful for carrying patients who are unconscious. This is like carrying piggyback method. Then it's human crutch method. If one of the leg is injured, the victim should be supported with minimum load on the other leg. So this is human crutch method. Okay, pulling or lifting method. This is used for carrying an unconscious patient like this way. through a short distance. Okay, this is can be done. Then carrying carrying on four hand chair. So this is how four hand chair can be made if two person can join their. So this is useful when support is needed for the part below waist. So if someone fracture over the leg region below waist area, this method can be used. Carrying two hand chair. Okay, if this is how two hand chair can be can be made with the help of two hands, and then useful for those patients who cannot use their hands but can hold their body upright. Okay, so that can be done. Here is a stretcher. We know what is stretcher. In an emergency, if conventional stretcher is not available, then a temporary stretcher can be made using bamboos or blankets. Okay, if stretcher is not available, we can use bamboos or blanket, etc. So these are the methods used by fire brigade people. So these all methods help us to transport the victim in different situation. Then the last point, what are other emergency measures we can take? Okay, like boats are used by civil administration to rescue people trapped in flooded area. So these measures are taken by administrative people. And as an emergency measure, wooden boards, bamboo floats, air-filled rubber tube from a tire can be used to advantage in those flooded areas. And find out, this part got eliminated from your syllabus. So this chapter is hereby end with disaster management, and I have already forwarded the written material of this chapter in your class group. Please write the answers of this chapter in your notebook. Inshallah, next time we'll meet and we'll discuss any other topic of this further topic of the of this syllabus. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.